first term we have is the manubrium of the sternum, and that is going to be this. Manubrium of the sternum. Next, we're going to have the body of the sternum, and this is going to be the body of the sternum from here to here. Next, we have the xiphoid process, and the xiphoid process is going to be this projection right here at the very end, pointing out. Xiphoid process. Next, we have the jugular notch or the suprasternal notch, and that is going to be right here. Making like a little smiley face. That's what it is right here. And let's say I hypothetically quiz you guys on this. You guys can say like a jugular notch or suprasternal notch, whatever you guys are more comfortable with. Both of them are correct. Next, we have the clavicular notch. The clavicular notch is going to be right here and right here. And then next, we have the costal cartilage, and the costal cartilage is going to be all of these. Does anybody have any questions about the sternum? I'm going to go back and review any terms.
Yeah, could you show the first term?
Yeah, of course. So the manubrium is going to be just this portion right here. So if I was quizzing you guys, I would go like this. You guys would know this is the manubrium. First, we have the head of the rib. Oops. The head of the rib is going to be this portion right here. There is specific terms we're going to learn in a second for the top and the bottom, but if I was just making a circle right here, you guys would know this is the head of the rib that I'm asking for. Next, we have the tubercle. And the tubercle is going to be essentially right here. This projection right here, if you look from a downward angle, it has a look like that comes out. This is going to be the tubercle of the rib. Next, we have the neck of the rib, and the neck of the rib is going to be this right here. So if I was just making a line down, I'm asking for the neck of the rib. This is where it's at. Neck of the rib. And then you could say the body of the rib is going to be this portion right here. Center portion. Body of the rib. And then you guys can see like this little, it looks like there's like a line right here, it's like a little groove. This is going to be the costal groove of the rib. So the body is right here, and right below that, if I'm just going underneath this line that you can see, that's going to be the costal groove of the rib. So now we're going to get into the specificness of the head area. So first we have the superior articular facet of the rib, and that is going to be this top portion. So if I cut this in half, you guys can see the top portion is going to be the superior articular facet of the rib, and then the bottom portion is going to be the inferior articular facet of the rib. So once again, top is superior articular facet, bottom is inferior articular facet of the rib. Does anybody have any questions about the rib, or do you guys want me to go over a specific term before I move on? Nobody miss anything? No? Alright. So next we're going to be going over the I'm going to go over the atlas, C1 on the second page. Start here. I'm going to be teaching you guys everything for this. So this is what your atlas looks like. You guys have it inside your guys' boxes. If you guys want to see the specific part. Just to make sure everybody's on Canvas, right? Everyone has a Canvas site? Yeah. Okay. Alright. So the first term we have is the vertebral foramen of the atlas C1. That is going to be this big four right here. Vertebral foramen of the atlas C1. Next, we are going to have the anterior arch of the atlas, and that is going to be this right here. Anterior arch. And then next we have the posterior arch. The posterior arch is going to be on the top, right here. So posterior arch. Next, we have the superior articular facet of the atlas, and that is going to be these right here. See how I flipped it around? I'm not pointing to these, I'm pointing to this right here. This is the superior articular facet of the atlas. And then if you flip it around, your inferior articular facet are the smaller circles, and that is going to be this right here and right here. Can everybody see? Just making sure. Yeah. Once again, inferior articular facet of the atlas C1. Next, we have the transverse foramen, and the transverse foramen are going to go into these holes right here. Transverse foramen. Either side, transverse foramen. And then the transverse process is going to be this top portion right here on each side. Transverse process. So if I was pointing to just this right here and this right here, you guys would know it is the transverse process of the atlas C1. And then the costal process is on the bottom, and that is going to be this right here. Costal process, costal process. Process. The superior vertebral notch, I'm not going to test you guys on. This is not testable in my notes. It's really hard to see. And also the inferior vertebral notch, so we'll skip on those ones for the atlas. Next we're going to go into the axis. Looks like this. Axis C2. Does anybody anybody have any questions about this one before we move on? Want me to go back? Yeah.
Can you show which one is posterior and anterior arch?
Yeah. The anterior arch is going to be this right here, the bottom portion. And then the posterior arch is going to be the top. So right here. Posterior arch, anterior arch. Is that good? Sounds good. Any other questions? Alrighty. Alright, next we have the vertebral foramen of the axis, C2. Once again, the vertebral foramen of the axis C2. And then next we have the dens, or the odontoid process. I like to say dens because it's way easier. This is it right here. Next we have the vertebral body, and the vertebral body is going to be this right here. So if I was like making a circle right here, you guys would know I'm pointing to the vertebral body. Next we have the superior articular facet, and that is going to be this right here and this right here. Superior articular facet of the axis C2. And we're going to flip it around. And now we have the inferior articular facet right here and right here. Inferior articular facet. Next is the spinosus process of the axis. And that is going to be this right here. It's pointing projection. Spinosus process. Next we have the vertebral arch, which is the pedicle and the lamina we're going to go over, and that is going to be, first we're going to go over the pedicle, and the pedicle is going to be this region right here, and this region right here. I'm just making a line right here, or right here. You know I'm asking for the pedicle. If we flip it around, the pedicle also is right here, and right here. These little crevices right here. Kind of goes around if you think about it. Pedicle. Next we have the lamina. The lamina is going to be right here and right here. Lamina, the axis C2. And then next we have the transverse foramen, and that is going to be this hole right here and also right here. Transverse foramen. Transverse foramen. And then next we have the costal process. And the costal process is going to be right here. This little line, and then also right here. transverse process is going to be right here. Transverse process, right here. The superior vertebral notch of the axis is going to be right here. Look at it from a side angle. Right here. Superior vertebral notch. And then the inferior, and that's on either side, right here or right here as well. The inferior vertebral notch is going to be under right here, this little projection right here. Inferior vertebral notch. Inferior vertebral notch. So next we are going to the cervical vertebrae, C3, C7. Does anybody have any questions about the previous one? Yeah.
Can you do the coastal process again?
Yeah, the coastal process, I got you. The coastal process is, so if you look at it like this and you flip it to the side, it's going to be this right here. And then same thing over here. It's going to be this right here. Coastal process. Does that help?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Alright. I like this one because it looks like a smiley face. That's how I remembered it. The first term we have is the vertebral foramen. And that's going to be this hole. The vertebral body is going to be this right here. And then the superior articular facet of the cervical vertebrae is going to be right here and right here. Superior articular facet. Flip it around. This is the inferior articular facet. Right here and right here. And then next we have the spinosus process, and the spinosus process is going to be these projections right here again. Anytime you guys see spinosus process, it's gonna be like a pointy projection. If you guys haven't been like picking up, most of these terms are kind of like repeats. It's just like it's something, just a different vertebrae. But yeah. Next we have the pedicle of the cervical vertebrae, and that's gonna be this. Get it closer, you guys. It's gonna be this right here. And this right here. And that runs around, so this as well would be right here, pedicle of the cervical vertebrae, C3, C7. And then the lamina is going to be right here. Lamina. transverse foramen is going to be these holes right here. Transverse foramen. Next we have the coastal process. And the coastal process is going to be these projections right here. It's like these pointy projections. This right here. And this right here. Coastal process. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Okay, so the superior and inferior vertebral notches not tested on either.
So for this, it's testable on C2, but I don't like testing it on C1 or C3 or C7. So the superior and inferior vertebral notch, you guys don't have to worry about it for C1 or for the atlas or the cervical vertebrae. So you guys can cross out superior vertebral notches and inferior vertebral notches for cervical vertebrae and atlas.
Thank you.
It's just too hard to show. It's like it's already hard enough. Oh my god, it's already hard enough to kind of show you guys like these little small little crevices, but for those like it's just you can't see them at all, so I don't like testing on them. Next we have the thoracic vertebrae, or it looks like this. This is the thoracic vertebrae. So the first term we have is the vertebral foramen, and that is going to be this hole right here. Vertebral foramen. Next we have the vertebral body, and the vertebral body is going to be this right here. And then the superior articular facet is going to be this right here and this right here. Superior articular facet. Inferior articular facet are going to be in the back right here and right here. Next, we have the spinosus process, and that is going to be this right here. Spinosus process. And then the pedicle of the thoracic vertebrae. It's really hard to see, but it's going to be right here. That is pointed right here on either side. You guys would know I'm asking for the pedicle. Pedicle right here. Alright. The lamina is going to be this portion again on the side. The transverse process is going to be this right here and this right here. So it's going to be the front. This right here and this right here. Transverse process. And then the articular facet for the tubercle of the rib. So this is a long one. Yeah. That is going to be on the side right here. Right here. Once again, articular facet for the tubercle of the rib. On the side. And next we have the superior costal facet, and that is going to be right here. Side, top. Superior costal facet. The inferior costal facet is going to be at the bottom. Inferior costal facet. And then the superior vertebral notch of the thoracic vertebrae is going to be right here. Right here. Superior vertebral notch. And then the inferior vertebral notch is going to be this right here. Inferior vertebral notch. Inferior vertebral notch. This right here is the superior vertebral notch. Okay. Next, we're going to be moving on to the lumbar vertebrae. Does anybody have any questions? Alright. So first, we have the vertebral foramen, and that is going to be in this hole again. Once again, this is the vertebral foramen of the lumbar vertebrae. Next, we have the vertebral body, and the vertebral body is going to be this right here. And then next, we have our superior articular facet, and that's going to be this right here and this right here. Next, we have the, I'm going to do the spinosis process, and the spinosis process is going to be this projection right here again. And then the inferior articular facet is going to be right here. Right here. Inferior articular facet. On the other side, this is the superior articular facet. Next, we have lamina of the lumbar vertebrae, and that is going to be this right here, the side, all this, lamina. the transverse process is going to be right here and right here. Next, we have the pedicle, and the pedicle is going to be right here, going down, and also right here, going down. Pedicle. Next, we have the superior vertebral notch, and that is right here. And then the inferior vertebral notch is going to be this down here. Inferior vertebral notch. Superior vertebral notch. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Yeah. Okay. Next, we're gonna go do the sacrum. Looks like this. So first, we have the median sacral crest, and the median sacral crest is going to be just imagine a line going down. If I'm quizzing you guys and you guys see me do a line down, you guys know I'm asking for the median sacral crest of the sacrum, S1, S5. Next, we have the lateral sacral crest, and the lateral sacral crest is going to run on the sides. Lateral sacral crest, the sacrum, S1, S5. Next, we have the sacral canal, and the sacral canal is going to be this right here. The sacral canal should, there's like a bone right here, but usually it goes down, it goes deeper, but we don't have like a real model to show you guys that. But yeah, the sacral canal is going to be right here. Next, we have the sacral hiatus, and that is going to be down here. Next, we have the sacral cornu, and the sacral cornu are going to be these projections right here. They look circular, this right here and this right here, sacral cornu. And then the sacral foramina are going to be all these holes, sacral foramina. We'll flip it around, and then we're going to have the sacral promontory, and that is going to be this. That is going to be this right here, sacral promontory. Next, we have the ala of the sacrum, and the ala of the sacrum is going to be this right here. Ala of the sacrum. Next, we have the transverse ridges, and the transverse ridges are going to be these lines. So imagine there's lines. If I start doing this, you guys know I'm asking for the transverse ridges. Next, we have the superior articular facet of the sacrum. That's going to be this right here and also this right here. Superior articular facet of the sacrum. And then next we have the auricular surface. The auricular surface is going to be the side. Auricular surface. And that is it for the sacrum. Next we have the coccyx, and the first term is the coccygeal cornu, and that is going to be this right here. Coccygeal cornu. And then next we have the sacrococcygeal symphysis, and that is going to be right here. Sacrococcygeal symphysis. You guys know where your guys' clavicle is? Yeah, sorry. So first we have the acromial end of the clavicle. The acromial end is going to be this right here. And then your sternal end is going to be this right here. So once again, the acromial side, acromial end of the clavicle is right here. So it looks like this is what the sternal end looks like. Alright, so now we're going to be going over the scapula. And I'm gonna teach you guys how to side, because you guys will have to know how to side these come practical time. People usually mess it up, but it's fairly simple if you just pay attention and you remember like the left or right. It's not that bad. So the first term we have is the spine of the scapula, and that is going to be. Can everybody see actually? Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. The spine is going to be this right here. Spine of the scapula. Next, we're going to have the supraspinosus fossa, and the supraspinosus fossa is going to be this right here. Supraspinosus fossa. Next, we're going to have the infraspinosus fossa, and that's going to be this. Once again, infraspinosus fossa. The glenoid cavity is going to be right here. I'm going to go a little out of order on your guys' paper, but I'll teach you guys, don't worry. This side, so this was the infraspinosus fossa on this side. So I'll look, and then you flip it around. This is going to be the subscapular fossa. This is the anterior side of the scapula. Next, we have the coracoid process, and the coracoid process is going to be this right here. Coracoid process. So this is going to be the acromion or the acromial process. And then the suprascapular notch is going to be right here. It's kind of weird to look at it from that angle, or you can see it from right here. Suprascapular notch. And then So if you see the glenoid cavity right here, you can see that the great scapular notch is going to be right here. So anytime you can see the glenoid cavity, you're going to know the great scapular notch is going to be right here. So how I like to remember, let me see, give me one second. Let me take this. So how I like to side these left to right, it's very simple. Don't make it too complicated. Once you do, it's hard. Just look at the glenoid cavity. So if you put it down, right? I don't know why this one's bigger than the other, but you see that this side of the glenoid cavity is on the right, and this side, the glenoid cavity is on the left. That's how you know. So this is the left scapula. This is the right scapula. All you need to look at is the glenoid cavity. Don't put it this way. That's incorrect. Your glenoid cavity goes outwards. It goes outwards. So anytime you guys are getting tested, if you guys see this and you guys are unsure, make sure the glenoid cavity is outward, and you will know if it's left or right. Alright. Actually, I'm gonna take it. So the medial angle for this is, this would be the medial angle for the scapula on either one. The anterior side is like this. The posterior side would be this. And then just trying to think. Yeah, that's it. That is it for today, guys. Does anybody have any questions? No questions?
So wait, do we have to know the medial lateral and also the superior inferior?
That's what I was just going over, but all you need to know is left or right, I would say.
I
Like,
got you.
just for questions. I'm not going to be asking if it's medial or lateral during like a test or something. Any other questions?